Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to be scrapbooking with you all today. I have the brand new Flutter and Bloom collection from Creative Memories on my desk in front of me. If you haven't seen this collection, it features beautiful florals and, as the name suggests, flutter. We've got some sweet little butterflies, all different little sizes there. This collection is honestly, it's just so beautiful, and I haven't been able to stop creating with it. I'm actually down to my scraps now. I don't have a lot of it left. You can see here by the paper pack cover sheet just how beautiful some of these designs are. Now, if you were to go to the Creative Memories website looking for this collection, you're not going to find it. This is actually one of the advisor exclusive collections, so you would need to order it through your Creative Memories advisor, or perhaps you'd like to make the awesome decision to become an advisor yourself. And this is just an example of some of the exclusive products that you will have access to. And like I said, I've been having a lot of fun creating with this collection. Here is a little look at the layout we're going to create together today. And it's actually sketch number 1 from my current, it's April 2026 downloadable sketchbook, which you will find at papersweetpea.com. I will link my website below this video. But yes, as I said, this is sketch number 1. Now, in the sample layout that features in my download, you'll see I've actually used the Lakeside Memories collection, but as I always tell you, you can use whatever collection you like when you're creating with sketches. Now, with my sketch designs, I like to call it sketch by numbers, and what I've actually done is, you can see I've numbered individual pieces on the sketch design, and you will find all of those numbers listed here down below with the measurements of what you need to do. And I also provide some little tips for creating your layout as well. But basically, you just start your layout by cutting and adhering all the pieces in order, in numerical order. So in this case, there's 6 different pieces, so we're going to cut and adhere them in order from 1 through to 6. So it's all very simple. As I said, I am down to the scraps that I have left for this collection. I have actually ordered more because I can't stop creating with it. So let's just slide these out of the way. And piece number 1 here features on our sketch design is 11.5 inches by 11.5 inches. Okay, so this is preparing our background. I've actually already done that off camera. I've worked with avocado cardstock as my base. I've removed the center of it so that I can use that offcut for photo mats or another project. And then I've cut down some bright white cardstock to 11.5 inches by 11.5 inches. So that's piece number 1 already in place. Okay, so piece number 2 is this top border strip here. And you can see that piece number 3 is another border strip in behind the photos, and they feature these straight edges here. One of the tips that I give down the bottom, I say the custom cutting system border cutting tools can be used to create a decorative edge on straight strips such as pieces 2 and 3. And that's exactly what I did with my sample layout. Rather than have the straight edge, I've just used one of my border cutting tools to create that wavy edge. Now, lucky for me, I already had these 2 strips already cut for another project, so I'm not going to waste these strips at all. I'm going to use these for my sketch. So all I have done is aligned my paper to my cutting mat like so, and I've attached my custom cutting system border cutting tool at 2.25. This is actually a little bit wider, but that's okay. And then I've just used my red cutting blade to cut along that strip. So very simple, and then I've got the base piece, which I intend to use for piece 3 already as well. So there's no wastage. So piece number 3 was 12 inches by 4 inches, and I think this will come pretty close to, yes it does. So that's lucky. I can use those as pieces 2 and 3. I'm going to cut all my pieces and then I can come back and construct the layout to the sketch design. So next we have piece 4, and that's another little decorative strip that's at the base here, and the measurement that I've given for that is 8 inches by 2 inches. So I'm going to use, just get that out of the way so I don't mess that up. I'm going to use the reverse of this beautiful pink butterfly paper, and it's like a gingham print, and it's got little tiny daisies and butterflies through that as well. So bring in my 12-inch trimmer, and we've got an 8-inch width, so we can cut that down to 8 inches, and then it's by 2 inches. So that will be piece number 4. So next we have piece number 5, which is this little tag piece that sits in behind our photos, and it allows for a title if you wish. And the measurement for that is 9 inches by 2.5. So I'm going to use this green strip of paper. So we need to cut that at 2.5, and then it's a 9-inch width, like so. I'm keeping all these little offcuts, you never know where they'll be handy for another project. And then I'm just going to align that at halfway in my trimmer at 1.25. And I'm just going to bring my blade down about 1/2 inch just to get our little end started that we're looking for. So you can see I've just cut that little slit in the middle, and then it's just a matter of using my scissors to come up into the center. That's a very simple way of creating a tag. Okay, so that will be piece number 5. Okay, next up, our final cut. You can see how quickly this is going to come together. Number 6, which I've labeled here, are these little half circles, or the little border running down the side. I've used my smallest circle custom cutting system template. You could use a border punch or a border maker cartridge with the border maker system. You don't have to, you know, do the same technique that I'm using for this design. This is where sketches are great. You can mix it up and have it as you like, but I'm going to use my small circle template, and it tells us the small circle CCS template with red blade on the inside track, cut 2 circles and then cut them both in half. So again, very easy to follow. I'm going to work with this red paper. It has the little butterflies on the reverse of it, so we only need to cut 2 circles. So I'll just use my red blade. And make sure I cut 2. So we need to cut these circles in half now, and because I've used a directional print, I'm just going to make sure that I've got the direction of those stripes going in the same direction and cut both of those in half, just with my scissors, like so. All right, so that's all of the pieces that we need to cut for this layout. We've still got some border pieces we can add that I've allowed on the layout, but that's the foundation of our layout. So if we bring those back in, we've got pieces 2 and 3, piece number 4 and 5, and then our little half circles are 6. So all we need to do is follow our sketch for where we need to adhere these down into place. And this is where you'll see how quickly this comes together. So I'm just going to bring back in my base page and line that up nice and square on my cutting mat. And we'll start with piece number 2. That's going to sit across the top of our layout. And I'm just using a teeny tiny little bit of repo tape along that strip to hold that into place. And I'm actually covering, because this is a wider width than that bright white cardstock, I'm actually covering over that top end of the layout. If you really wanted to, you could stick that down with foam squares as well to give your layout that bit of dimension. That would look quite nice. Next we have piece number 3. Doesn't matter too much with your positioning in this case. Just running through the center of the page. Like so. Next we have piece number 4, which was our blue gingham paper. And that can sit directly below that pink strip. And then piece number 5 was our little tag. And that's going to sit back a little way, layering over those other 2 pieces. Like so. So you can see how quickly that's come together. Moving on from here, what I think I'm going to do is add my border pieces. Again, I've allowed for it on the sketch. It doesn't mean you have to. You can see I've used some of my favourite BMCs and border punches here on my example layout. Today I have my whimsical scallop border punch that I'm going to add to my layout. I love this border punch. So I'll just move my layout out of the way. And I'm just going to use this red paper once more. And I'm just going to punch all the way along. I just think this border punch, it just allows you to layer so many different elements over the top of this. You could layer 2 punches together. You can use border stickers. But yeah, it's become one of my all-time favorites. So there you can see that's one, and I'm actually going to use the same one for this little border that we've got running along the base here. I thought we could tuck it in underneath. Let's get rid of my scraps. We won't need a full 12-inch strip of this for the bottom, but you know what, that's okay. I'm still going to punch all the way along, and I'm sure we'll find another project that we can use the little off-cut piece for. There'll be no wastage. We can pop it on a card or a gift tag. I'm just going to adhere it 1/4 of an inch down from the top, so you'll still see a little bit of the pink above that red. Now this second piece I'm going to layer in under our blue gingham, and we will have a photo placed here, so I'm just going to cut just a little bit off the end. It will be covered by the photo after all. You won't see that end. And we can add our adhesive. And then I'm going to tuck this a little bit under that blue strip there at the base. Again, we're not going to see this because we'll have a photo over the top. You want to make sure you get it straight, not like Kylie has there. It's very crooked. Very, very crooked. Okay, that's better. So add our little border piece there. So now I can come in and add my photo mats. Now you don't have to use photo mats, and you don't have to use the same sized photos that I've allowed on this layout. You can use whatever size you like. You can have as many photos as you like. Again, this is just a starting point to give you an idea. But the photo mats that I've used, I've got the measurements written here, 3.75 by 5.75, and I've got 2 of those. And then I've got a 3.25 by 3.25 down the bottom there. So we need our first 2 cut at 5.75 by 3.75. So they'll sit vertically on our layout. And then we need one to be 3.25 by 3.25. So just a little square like so. Okay, so once you've cut your photo mats, we can get them stuck down in place. I'm going to follow my sketch when it comes to placement. So we've got 2 here on the left side of the layout, and then we've got this little one that's going to be layered just over the very ends of these pieces on this side. I'll stick these other photo mats in place first, because then we've got these little half circles to get in place on our layout that we cut. Like so. So these were pieces 6, our 4 little half circles, or if you're using a border punch. But these are just going to layer up the side of this photo. Give it a nice scalloped edge. And space them a little bit to make sure that they're evenly placed, like so. And then we can add our final little photo mat into place. Down in this bottom right hand corner. So you can see how quickly this layout has come together following that sketch, just by cutting, you know, your pieces in numerical order and then getting them placed down onto your background. From here you can add your photos. Bring back in my completed layout. Now, one thing I did with this top border piece, I actually went in and very carefully, it was from this is the last little piece of this paper I have, but I very carefully just cut a horizontal strip of these little butterflies and the daisies. It's probably about, it's probably about 3/8 of an inch, about 1 centimetre. And I've just cut one of those strips with my 12-inch trimmer, and I've added it over the top of that red border punched strip. So we had some of the blue paper at the base here, so it just balanced it out and added a little more blue to the top of our layout. And all I've come in, I've just added just a few simple little embellishments layered with foam squares, which help tell our story. I've also used my favorite tab punch just to add a little pop of green, and that will be a great little place to add a date for my photos when I get them printed. So that completes my layout for today. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the beautiful Flutter and Bloom collection from Creative Memories. And this was, of course, as I mentioned, sketch number 1 from my current April 2026 download. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.